Man, what's the end game for Etherfi?
I mean, our hope is to replace banks. So if in 10 years we've got a couple 100 million users and we're truly a viable global alternative to traditional banking, I think that's a win, because it means people will be getting more flexibility, more control over their assets, better rewards, lower fees. I mean, it's just a fundamentally better product.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the DJ Radio podcast. I'm your host, Thiago, and today I had a great conversation with Mike Silagadze, the founder and CEO at Etherfi, the crypto and DeFi Neobank. We covered a lot of things focusing on cash and their new product lines. It was a great conversation, so let's hop into the show. Hey, Mike, how you doing, man? Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, man, before we go deep dive into Etherfi, and I want to talk a little bit about the crash on Friday. And I saw you posted a pretty funny video talking about leverage, and I want to get your view on how do you see this? What did it show about our infrastructure as an industry? Was such a fragile thing or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it was a number of very specific things that kind of blew up. Obviously, like the initial trigger was like the Donald Trump thing about China tariffs, which caused prices to decline very rapidly. And usually when that happens, because it's happened many times before, there's a bit of a liquidation spiral, right, where like the price goes down, so some tokens get liquidated, which causes more price to go down further, and you get a bit of a cascade effect. In this case, this was particularly violent, and we saw certain venues like Binance and a few others. I mean, just really completely bleed out, and of course, Hyperliquid I think lost more than half of its open interest. So I mean, it was just like a complete washout of I guess the majority of their traders, right? Even people that had pretty conservative long positions just got absolutely wiped out. So I guess there's some positive, there's some silver lining there in that like DeFi performed pretty well. Like there was no bad debt really anywhere that I know of. But like a lot of the, all of the contagion happened in centralized venues like Binance and I mean, even Hyperliquid, I think could probably be better thought of as a centralized venue.
Yeah, that was my next question. Like, how do you see this as a stress test for DeFi? Like, does it put a stamp of approval saying this mechanism really works under stress and we are ready for the next level? Do you think there would happen something like that for DeFi?
I mean, yes and no. I think DeFi has always tended to perform pretty well because in the case of DeFi, all loans are heavily over collateralized, and there's a particular degree of paranoia and focus on safety that exists in DeFi. I think Aave, very was very effective at defending its assets, and by in particular holding Athena USDE at 1-to-1 to USDT prevented something that otherwise could have been like absolutely cataclysmic, if it had happened. So anyway, so DeFi has always passed those types of tests. But on the other hand, I mean, DeFi still is missing a lot of elements that we traditionally see from, like TradFi markets, like the ability to create credit. Everything in DeFi is like 1-to-1 over collateralized, and so that makes it challenging to use DeFi for for actual kind of commerce. Anyway, so I think that's why I say yes and no.
Got it. And to close it out on the crash, do you see this like reducing the appetite for trade users to trade perps, or you don't see the impacts
I'm
at all?
sure. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I suppose you could say every time there's one of these massive like corrections, you have like a lot of users just get sort of wiped out, right? And so those users are, I guess, the question is like, have they learned their lesson? Are they basically done with crypto, or are they just going to go get some more money and then come back to it?
Bring back to the casino.
Yeah, I mean, right, and I guess that's the analogy. Like, casinos do
Yeah.
that pretty regularly, and people keep coming back. So, um, yeah, so it's interesting, I guess.
Got it. Yeah. And man, now moving to Etherfi, can you give an overview, a brief overview for those who are not familiar with the protocol and like the whole like product suite you guys are building?
Yeah, for sure. So Etherfi is building what's now called a crypto neobank, which basically means a non-custodial alternative to traditional banking that allows users to do everything that they normally would do with their traditional banks like Revolut or Neobank, but do it on crypto rails, which means to retain custody of their assets, to pay much lower fees than they would at a normal bank. And to be able to plug into the composability of DeFi.
Got it. And how was this like evolution, like from staking to restaking, and then like the asset management on Liquid, and now Cash, the new bank? Like, how was this like structured in the evolution, like that you guys took to go on this route?
Yeah, I mean, I guess believe it or not, like our vision was from day one, this crypto neobank. But our first product was actually like a staking protocol. That was just the first thing that we released, which became very popular. And so, like, for many people, that's kind of what they think of when they think about Etherfi. They think of us as a staking protocol. But I would say the majority of users now that we have are using the entire suite of products rather than just staking. But the vision from day one was to be able to scale out to this broader kind of integrated platform.
Oh, cool. And what did you wh- what did you see back then uh to get this what did you see back then to get this like I will build this, and like this is where the book will go in like 2 3 years? Like what was the
Yeah, I
problems
guess,
and
yeah, it was two
solutions that you
years
saw?
ago. Well, I mean, my goal has always been to build something that has broad appeal to users. So something that would actually be used in people's day to day lives, rather than something that is very kind of niche and focused just on the crypto space. And so it was really just a question of like, how do you get from point A to point B? Anyway, that was really the driving force of development. And I view this crypto neobank product suite as like almost like the end state or holy grail of crypto, like basically a full end-to-end product that actually lets people use crypto in their day-to-day lives rather than just being this kind of like casino, broader casino.
Yeah, Cash is the only product that I use in a non-speculative manner in crypto in my day-to-day
Nice.
life now.
That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. And what, given like the business size right now, like how, like the proportions, like how big is this restaking against liquid against cash, and what's the proportions right now on this?
Yeah, I mean, I would say cash is continuing to grow, but like staking is about 40% of our revenue. So it's still pretty substantial. And then liquid is maybe another 20%, and so 40% is the remaining 40% is cash.
It grew pretty fast, and like you opened
Yeah,
Circuit
for
in
sure.
April, May, right?
That's right. Yeah, we just launched it in like May, June. I would say is when it really started to take
Yeah.
off.
And for travel, how like big do you think travel can get, or is this just more a complementary thing to
Oh,
keep people in the app?
um, I mean, I think it's just an expected part of the fintech experience,
Mm,
right? If you use like an Amex or I think Revolut or Chase Sapphire, like they all have these like really nice travel portals
okay.
that users can use. Um, yeah, so like that's basically kind of where that's
Got
at.
it. Yeah, the reason I started to like using like more cash in my day-to-day life is because you guys are doing something like on the benefit side similar to traditional banks and new banks, while the other credit cards I use it to use when I'm traveling, you just
Hmm.
like prepaid and you don't get anything back. Sometimes
Hmm.
points, sometimes not even that. So yeah, that's good for growth and adoption. And man,
Right, for sure.
before we deep dive into everything I want to know about cash, I saw a tweet you replied earlier today or yesterday, commenting on the advantage of a DeFi new bank comparing to a traditional new bank. A guy was saying like, I don't get this crypto new bank stuff, and for the people that like kind of like don't like crypto for any reason, still think it's used like for criminals and stuff, like do you think it will take a while to get these guys? Do you have anything like you see like this can like convert these guys as users at least of the product?
Hmm. Yeah, so our current target audience is mainly starting with the DeFi natives, like people that are very comfortable with crypto, but are looking to get a broader base of are looking to get actually be able to use it kind of more broadly in real life. From there, we expect and we're starting to see adoption by people that are comfortable with centralized exchanges. So they like crypto, they invest in it, they want to be able to use it. They know what stable coins are. So they're pretty comfortable with a product like this that has good UX. And then what we want to do is expand into the broader audience of normies, who are people that crypto is kind of weird and scary to them, and the UX just needs to be super polished and easy for them to be able to use this stuff in real life. But that's something that I think is going to take some time. I mean, that's a multi-year process before it gets to a stage where where we get a lot of kind of non-crypto native adoption. Although we're starting to see some of that already, especially in markets like like Brazil.
Oh, cool. And I will get in Brazil soon. And now, like going to the regulatory landscape, how does this change in the US play the role, like this intersection between DeFi and fintechs growth, and how did it impact the development of and growth of cash?
Sorry, the question kind of cut out
Do
when you were
you,
speaking. Did you say?
all right.
Yeah, go ahead. Why don't you ask it
The
again?
change in the regulatory landscape in the US,
Yeah.
did it? How big of a role did it play, like in growing the intersection between DeFi and fintech in the growth of in development for cash specifically?
I think it's been a huge help. I mean, I don't think we'd be doing a lot of the stuff that we're doing if it wasn't for like the
Yeah.
improvement in the regulatory clarity in the U.S. It certainly makes it a lot easier. I mean, previously we would have just straight up blocked any usage from Americans, which is what we were doing
Yeah.
before. Whereas now, we're able to actually offer the product for use there.
Oh, cool. And are you live in all the 50 states in the US?
Not quite. I think it's like maybe 45 or something. I don't think we're able to service like
So
Arizona and a couple of other markets. It's a process. I think we'll get there.
yeah, it's still most of the country. And man, on licenses, like how like working with so many countries, well, like as crypto as a global industry, and do you need like license in a lot of places for on and off ramping? Like how does this work, and how hard is like for the first DeFi new bank to get this license if you actually have
Um,
any?
It's, I mean, it's hard. I guess every geography, every jurisdiction is its own thing. And I would say, we see a lot of card programs now getting launched. And I would say most of them are being run illegally. I mean, in other words, they're just ignoring a lot of the rules. We're trying to do everything by the book and follow the rules, as we understand them. We get legal opinions on every single country that we operate in. So we're trying to be very kind of, as I said, doing things properly and focused on the long term. But yeah, it requires. I mean, we have a whole bunch of licenses and partners and compliance and fraud monitoring, AML. I mean, it's just like it's really endless. Like it takes up a huge amount of bandwidth. I don't think it adds any value, but there's just a lot of stuff that you have to do for it to work.
Yeah, I can imagine that. And you guys don't have like a banking license, right?
Correct. No, we don't need a banking license because we don't take custody of user assets.
Got it. And do you plan to apply for a banking license in the future?
I mean, I don't want to say no for sure, but not in the near term. I mean, it's just not. That's the whole point of it, right? Is it's non-custodial. So.
Yeah. And man, on the crypto cards and Neobank landscape now, Etherfi was it's still kind of alone in as the whole stack the Neobank. And we saw Mentos you are launching recently, and Plasma One announced it I think it was a month ago. And these are two big players, well capitalized with some distribution. How do you see the competition growing in the space and going forward?
Yeah, it's not a surprise. I mean, I guess we should be encouraged that we were the first by a long shot to be talking about this vision. But now, of course, the market's been validated, and so we're going to see lots of people entering the space, and it's going to be a real market grab, I guess, market share grab. But that's great. Look, this is without exaggeration, this is a market that's several $100 billion, right? Like neobanking in general. So it's a huge opportunity. There's not going to be one player that owns the space. So yeah, I think it's great. I think there's a big opportunity here for lots of players to develop.
Yeah, sure. It's good. I think it's going to be huge. And do you have do you know do you have on top of your head the size of the market globally now?
So neobanking in general is about $170 billion. There's Revolut, there's Nubank, there's Chime. I mean, there's hundreds of these these banks in almost every region. So it's a huge market. And growing, very fast. If you think neobanking is a subset of all of banking, and all of banking is maybe billions of dollars. I think the important thing to note there is as crypto neobanking takes over, the market size gets smaller, because it's just much more efficient. It doesn't need to drive as much dollars from every user. So I think that's a positive thing.
Do you know how many a rough estimate on the number of users on new banks in the world?
I don't know that off the top of my head, but I mean, companies like Nubank have about 100 million, north of 100 million users. Companies like Revolut, I think, are 40 or 50 million. I think Chime has around 10. So we're talking hundreds of millions of users globally.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. I remember when Nubank launched, and I was in college, and people everybody in college was getting a Nubank account because you could get a credit card with a decent limit, even if you didn't have a lot of money. You didn't need to pay for transactions. We didn't have Pix back then, so we need to pay for bank transfers like you do in the US. And Nubank cut all of this, and it was just a big fever. And when it started, I think it was 10 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
You want to comment something on that?
No. I mean, I think it's longer, but yeah, it's I mean, it's been incredible, right? Crazy growth.
Yeah. And man, on the demographic of users, and Brazil is your largest market right now, right? And
Mhm.
was it on purpose, by accident? And are you focusing on mostly on emerging markets, or just happened?
I would say it was not it was not on purpose. We just had a number of users and people that got excited about the product that started talking about it, to their audiences, and it just really just absolutely took off. So I mean, it's been incredible to watch the growth, and now we're obviously now starting to really focus on that market.
Oh, cool. Are you planning some like to put more efforts in the market here
Oh yeah,
because
for
of the
sure.
growth you saw? And
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, we have to be careful because we're not allowed to directly market to people in Brazil. So the awareness has to be organic, I guess. But we want to support the users that are in Brazil, and so yeah, of course, we'll continue to do that.
oh, got it. And yeah, my account just like Pix just got like unlocked yesterday. I
Great.
tried it
Yeah.
and
How's it going?
yeah, it was pretty smooth experience. I just like made a transaction to test it, like $100,
Nice.
and got in the bank in my bank, paid like a very like small fee, way cheaper
Nice.
than like the spreads I pay if I want to offer him through a domestic exchange. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was like pretty good. And
That's great.
Etherfi Cash is
Good to hear. Yeah, we're
yeah,
going to be
Etherfi Cash.
rolling out picks broadly to everybody in like a day or two, basically. But yeah, it seems like
Oh,
it's
cool.
working well. Probably the biggest thing we're missing, I would say, that would be very helpful, I guess, in emerging markets is an Android app. So yeah, that's
Oh.
something that we're working on for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Like Brazil, I think is one of the richest emerging markets, and iPhone here is pretty expensive. So yeah, like most people, a lot of people don't have like cannot afford it in like a regular basis. Yeah, and man, a few like credit card machines here, like failed transactions. Some
Yeah.
like vendors are. Do you think like you have like to deal with like a boycott from regular dealers, or just like a bad like n- not like well rounded security place? And do you think is there like a I kind of missed the word. I think it's prejudice, but I don't know if it fits well, like for with crypto companies and the boycott, something like that.
Um,
Do you see this?
Not at this point. No, I think this is just like more normal. I shouldn't say normal, I guess, but every market has its own idiosyncrasies. Um, some markets have broader support for foreign issued cards because this is a card that's not issued in Brazil; it's
Yeah.
issued out of the U.S. So some markets have just like better or worse support for these types of products. And so in Brazil, there's actually quite a bit of challenges, I guess, with foreign issued cards. And
Yeah.
Visa just generally is, I mean, it's broadly supported, but like there's these foreign card issues. And so
E-
we're working on that. We have a solution that we think should resolve that, and then the card should then
uh,
work nicely in Brazil, and should actually even improve the FX rate. Like it'll basically remove FX, but
Ooh.
that's like a couple weeks away.
Cool, cool. And yeah, Brazil's regulatory landscape for financial is like a yeah, it's a pain in the ass. And you are you guys like now that you see this success in Brazil, and are you like targeting specific regions in the world, like where you see you can have like broader adoption, and like how like the penetration on like the US it's newer on Europe and like all some Latin America, Asia? How is this distribution for you guys right now?
Yeah, so we have to be careful in that we're not allowed to market in many regions. We're really only allowed to market the card directly in parts of the U.S. and a couple of other markets. So in other
Yeah.
markets, the growth has to be kind of organic and on what's called a reverse solicitation basis, which means like people can find the product and learn about it from their friends and use it, but we can't directly market to them. But I mean, we've seen that kind of organic growth take place in markets like Brazil, in markets like Taiwan, Thailand. Thailand has been really great for us. Lots of the EU. So we are seeing growth in a lot of different places, and then obviously when those users find and use the product, we want to support them as much as we can.
Cool, got it. And like, do you think you're gonna take a long time for this marketing for you guys to be able to market the app, or do you think it's gonna take us like slow and steady?
Yeah, in order to actually market directly, it's very region specific. Like again, I can't stress this enough. Like every country, sometimes even different regions within the country are different, and if a fintech product wants to operate there, they have to respect those local laws, which just requires a lot of work. So in places like the UK, we can partner with companies that do marketing on behalf of fintechs if we wanted to market there directly. In the EU, we would need to establish an entity and then sort of passport it across EU countries and partner with a local visa principal member. It's like a whole thing. Every country is its own thing. So it's going to take a long time to get like full, perfect, comprehensive coverage everywhere.
Got it, man. Got it. And on the audience for Cash, you have like I think 30 something thousand users, and
So we have about
where
150,000 people. I mean, we have hundreds of thousands of users that use the product. Out of those people, about 150,000 have created accounts. And out of those accounts, we have about 40,000 cards that have been issued. So like those are kind
yeah,
of the
I
raw.
took the number
You can use
from
either
June.
side. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I took the number from June on Monday actually. So yes, just I think it's 35,000 on June. That's why I thought was that.
Yeah, so that's
For
the number of cards. That's the number of
yeah.
active cards that have been issued. So again, but you can use Etherfi just staking, for example. Like then you don't need an account. You can just go to the site and stake some
Yeah,
Ether,
my bad.
BTC or whatever.
Yeah,
So
my
there's like a waterfall of users.
yeah, no. A question was supposed to be like specific to cash, not the staking
Okay, yeah,
and the
go
rest.
ahead. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. No, and when do you see the crypto native audience becomes too small for Etherfi Cash? Like, what's the size, the number of users that you see like
I mean,
right now?
in some ways, it's already there. We're already going after crypto native, as I mentioned earlier. Like that's hundreds of millions of people that like use crypto. So that's a pretty large, market. But like we're already expanding outside of just like DeFi natives because that is a very small subset of the world.
Yeah, yeah, I got it. And I know I asked something similar earlier, but what are like the main challenges and opportunities you see when you're going forward like decentralized exchange users per se and evolving? Like, what's the biggest challenge for you seeing this?
I mean, I would say the biggest challenge with anything, and this isn't specific to centralized exchange users. The biggest challenge is like creating a product that's really good and easy to use. Like that's the most important thing. And then once you have that, then you can focus on like other issues, and a lot of stuff just kind of takes care of itself.
So, all right, just to finish up this part of the car and on cash, like given how mercenary most of the crypto market participants are, and do you foresee any slowdown in adoption when the cashback reduces like from 3% per purchase?
I mean, we're going to keep that going for as long as we can. Hopefully, another year or two. But yeah, look, I mean, we're going to need to switch to a more sustainable model, which is it's not that we're going to reduce the cash back. We'll probably just make that available to users that are like more active. And but I mean, I think it'll always be more competitive than TradFi. It'll be always like much more competitive because it's just there. Crypto just has a lot more kind of yields to go around.
Yeah, it's better than points. and Ireland, and
For
then
sure.
bank points.
Yeah,
It's not
exactly.
even like points worth tokens. It's like points worth like airline tickets. So yeah, it's better. And
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
when do you see like cash surpassing staking as a revenue stream? And if so, when do
I
you?
mean, I think it already has, actually, for us.
Oh, oh, damn, it was fast. Uh,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just staking is not in and of itself like a great, business.
Yeah, yeah. And man, now moving on to the upcoming products and integrations, you mentioned a few times like trade and hyper liquid ecosystem. This, can you talk a little bit more like about what is trade, like when will it comes online, and
Yeah, we're working on it. It's we're aiming to get it out by the end of this year. That's the short answer.
oh,
And I think
cool.
that's obviously a huge opportunity for us as well, both from a revenue standpoint and just creating a more comprehensive product
Yeah.
for our users.
Do you intend to put this inside the Cash app and so I can do it
Yeah,
on
of
my
course.
phone?
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly. That's the idea.
that's interesting. And I remember hearing you mentioning, I don't remember if a podcast or and on Twitter about like development using Hip3
Mhm.
and tokenized
That's right.
stocks and this stuff. Do
Yeah.
you plan to roll this out alongside trade after it? And how is this? Can you talk a little bit more about it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that'll probably even come sooner, even before
Oh,
even before the trade product. We're working with a couple of different partners to be able to offer that to our users.
oh, cool. And do you intend to use this like inside the app and maybe allow it as collateral for the borrow service
For
inside the
sure.
cash too?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the idea.
Uh, yeah, use like stocks as margin. That's gonna be interesting. Yeah.
Hmm.
And how, like, about like, do you you probably like been doing some studies on the adoption of trade. How do you see like your audience right now is mostly like staking users, DeFi users, not necessarily perps users. Like, do you like how big do you believe can be like the initial impact on trades launch and on these uh, stocks and equities markets with Hip3?
I mean, it's hard to predict, but like what we're seeing from other products that have launched, hyper liquid integrations. I mean, we're seeing pretty substantial, amounts of usage from those users. So, I mean, I see it as being significant. I mean, it's not hard to imagine it kind of surpassing cash card revenues.
Damn. Yeah. It's perps is a pretty like lucrative business, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
we're trying to make it maybe like less predatory, less of a casino, and like just help users, stay safe. But yeah, it is a very lucrative business.
Yeah, good luck with that and making crypto users safe with leverage. Uh, what about Solana, man? You released the Hyperliquid Vault, I think it was a few months ago, and you said you're planning to do a Solana Liquid Vault too. And do you plan to integrate like the Liquid Vault for Solana and to attack like Solana DeFi too? Is there a timeline for that?
Um, yeah, yeah, we definitely want to do it. Timing wise, I would say, yeah, maybe next few weeks to a month. It's something we've
Oh,
been looking at doing for a while.
cool, man. Cool. Looking forward to like to onboard another sector of like another cohort of users, like the
Hmm.
Solana DeFi and Trenchers guy.
Hmm.
And is there any other ecosystem you were looking for besides like what already exists, like Ethereum, Scroll, and like Hyperliquid and Solana?
I think those are probably the main ones. I don't, maybe like, yeah, we'll see if other ecosystems end up developing, but yeah, those are the main ones that we're looking at right now.
Oh, cool. And what about like Plasma? What are you looking there?
Well, we're participating in Plasma. I mean, we're like the supported ETH staking asset on there. yeah, so we plan to continue to support that ecosystem. It seems like it's growing and has a lot of traction.
Oh, cool, cool. And then now, and moving to another part that I'm curious to hear your thoughts. It's that's and that's for you, like for in two aspects, like as a customer, and that's I want to take your view, and that's as for altcoins. And
Hmm.
this, so at first, like for you have a staking business, and there's
Hmm.
like a, I don't know, like a bunch of like almost $10 billion in ETH in that. And do you have any deals with that? Do you plan to do you have any like on the pipeline? And how you seeing this?
Yeah, so we're speaking to, and we've already, it's already been announced that ETHZilla, which one of the major ETH DATs, has deployed capital into Etherfi. So yeah, we think that's that's going to be a growth area for sure, and we're supportive of all the all the DATs that are out there. I do think there's a lot of opportunity for kind of more altcoin DATs as long as they're done in not a predatory kind of fashion.
Yeah.
But I do think in some ways that can actually be even more exciting than DATs of the more the blue chip assets.
Yeah, two that's that I liked it. I had Guy on and we talked a little bit about stablecoin X. I think
Mhm.
what they did that was pretty interesting on the way they structured the deal and like the motives for that. I think the hyperliquid ones I didn't dive into the details and arrangements, but it's a way to give access to hyperliquid since like institutions in the US, a lot of people cannot get access to the token. And there's a tool that I'm looking for that I'm finding interesting. And regarding like that, that's as customers. You said you announced Zilla, and do you think like these the big ones like Bitmine and it's better probably doing something since it's the consensus involvement? Do you think these guys will come on chain and bring like the part of their capital on chain, or you need to be like some more of the on the long tail of that?
I mean, I think Bitmine has said that they're not planning to do DeFi anytime soon. So, I mean, I guess that's going to be the case. I do think most of the other ones probably will. So, I think that's actually pretty exciting. We're going to see, many billions of dollars of ETH and TVL kind of flowing into DeFi. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's that's going to be very bullish for the ecosystem.
Oh, cool. And do you like see uh, Etherfi tackling like other assets that's like with the as the vaults like BTC or like Hype that sold that to the future maybe? And how do you plan to do that on the vaults? Have some specific product for
Um,
them?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think there's any conversations on that going on right now, but I think that could be a really good opportunity for sure.
Oh, cool. And on the debts for outside, and do you, if you can comment, of course, do you plan on doing something like that for Interfi?
It's not something that we can comment on at this point. I mean, we're always kind of looking at different opportunities, but nothing that I could share at this point.
All right, got it. And what would be a non-predatory debt for an altcoin? And which
Well, I think in many cases, a lot of these DATs have been used to basically like liquidate tokens for investors and the
yeah,
foundation, and so like that's like not, I think, healthy, right? Because they're basically just taking either locked up tokens, putting it into a public company, and then dumping it
yeah,
on the market. Like that's just
with
not
1 month lockup.
yeah, that's right. So those aren't healthy things for the market. I think if it's like it's actually raising, new capital from investors to show that there is demand, I think that's interesting. I think if it's if it's a project or a token that actually has some strong fundamentals, like those are things that like feel a lot more viable.
And which kind of assets do you think it suits better for a vehicle like that?
Well, I mean, I think like the blue chip ones like ETH, BTC, I guess Solana, Hype, those are, I think, interesting, maybe large enough. I mean, if there were to be like an Etherfi DAT, like that could be viable as well, right? Because like Etherfi like is a protocol with a product and consumer presence. Like these are things that I think are really super interesting.
Cool, man. Cool.
And sorry, how much more time? Because I know I was super late, but I know we're also running over here.
Well, like I have like a few more questions. Do you have a hard stop anytime, or how's your time?
Yeah, maybe in the next couple of minutes. I mean, because I'm
All right,
already I'm running late to my next meeting, but
all right,
I know I was late as well. So
no, I was going to ask a few more questions. I'm just gonna speed run a little bit.
sure, yeah, let's do
And
it.
all right. So and on, I have like two more questions, and it's like on the ETH's price dependence for the revenue streams staking and stuff. I was
Yeah.
writing an internal report on that, and I read Blockworks reports after it, and we both like had this as like a point of concern if you're pitching like Etherfi to investors, and like cash is already changing that. But how do you see this? Do you see this maybe reducing the multiple of the company, or like scare investors, or do you think it's just like more?
I mean, I think
of
if you're doing, if you're looking at tokens in the DeFi ecosystem, like everything's going to be correlated, right? So
yeah,
the fact that our revenue is, like tied or correlated to the price of ETH, which is very true. I don't know if that changes anything, because like, of course, yeah, like our, the success of the ecosystem has implications for us. But as you say, I mean, with cash and then eventually trade, and now, with the liquid vaults, those are like really balance out the revenue in terms of, much more stable coin based revenues, which I think is good. It's a way to kind of smooth things out.
got it. And Matt, what's the end game for Etherfi?
I mean, our hope is to replace banks. So if in 10 years we've got a couple 100 million users, and we're truly a viable global alternative to traditional banking, I think that's a win, because it means people will be getting more flexibility, more control over their assets, better rewards, lower fees. I mean, it's just a fundamentally better product.
Cool. And before we wrap, I have like the two questions that I ask everybody. And the first is, how would you describe Etherfi in one sentence?
Crypto native neobank.
Cool. I was imagining that. And the last one, I think you're already familiar. Can you share some alpha to our audience? It can be about anything.
Well, I mean, look, I think the narrative around crypto neobanking is actually really starting to take off. So I would just keep an eye on that. I think there's a few of these, waves of excitement and hype that occur, and this is, I think, the next big one.
All right, cool. Thank you, Mike. Thanks very much.
Great.
I really enjoyed the conversation, man.
Yeah, you as well. Thanks.